Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our last appointment dedicated to the functional protocols. As I already pointed out several times in the past appointments, the functional protocols allow the evaluation of different body segments, but altogether provide a complete global assessment of the patient and allow the clinician to benefit from objective and quantitative data in order to formulate and optimize his own functional diagnosis of the patient. Today, we will explore the functional protocol static posture in more detail. Posture is the mirror of muscular behavior. If some muscles are always in a state of tension and shortening, and they are not stretched enough, there is the risk of really modifying the subject posture, creating not only the classic pain and muscle discomfort, but also wrong postural attitudes that alter the harmony and wellness of the body. Thanks to the static posture protocol, it's possible to evaluate which is the muscular strategy used by the patient to keep a specific static posture. Obviously, the orthostatic position is the most studied one, but the evaluation with the static posture protocol can also be extended to the analysis of other postures under isometric conditions, such as, for example, the sitting protocol, the sitting position. The clinical goal of the analysis is to verify how much the muscles of the right and left side are more or less active in the prolonged maintenance of the posture, but at the same time, if the muscular activity of the two body sides appears to be symmetrical. During this webinar, we will focus our attention to the evaluation of muscular behavior for keeping a posture in orthostatic position. The execution of the test is therefore very simple. The patient must simply remain still and maintain the orthostatic posture in isometric condition for a period of time from a minimum of 30 seconds up to 1 minute. The test can be performed before and after the rehabilitation therapy, maybe based on corrective postural gymnastics to highlight any change in the state of muscular tension. From the instrumental point of view, the static posture protocol requires the following wearable sensor of the BTS technology: 4 or 8 free mg probes. Unlike all the other protocols presented in the previous webinars, the static posture protocol does not require the use of the G sensor inertial sensor because it's evaluating muscular activity in static conditions. Free mg probes should be applied to the trunk muscles bilaterally. The choice of muscle setup, that is the list of the muscles to be analyzed, can be free and decided by the clinician according to the specific needs related to the patient. Therefore, both muscles from the back and the front of the trunk can be selected. But it's very important that for each muscle of the right side, there is the homologous muscle on the left side. The median line of the trunk can be used as a reference from the symmetrical positioning of the probes. Now, let's look at the video that shows the preparation of the patient and how to perform the test. If you have 4 BTS-free-mg probes for the analysis of the back muscle activity, we suggest to apply 2 probes on the dorsal muscles at the proximal level and 2 more probes on the lumbar muscles at a more distal level. The electrodes must be oriented parallel to the direction of the muscle fibers. With a light pressure, we make the electrodes adhere well to the skin. We repeat the same procedure on the opposite side. It's absolutely essential to be very precise in the application of the electrodes. The electrodes must be positioned symmetrically so as to be at the same height, at the same distance with respect to the spine line, which must therefore be considered as a reference line. With the same precision and following the same advices with respect to the symmetry of application, we position the 2 probes also on the muscles of the lumbar segment. The patient is now ready. Because it's a static evaluation, the static posture protocol does not require the use of the G-sensor inertial sensor. During the test, the patient must simply remain still and keep the orthostatic position for 30 seconds or 1 minute under isometric conditions. But it's important to point out that the protocol can also be used to evaluate with which muscular strategy the patient is able to keep any other static posture under isometric conditions, for example, the seated position. Okay, once the test has been carried out, through a quick processing of the acquired data, the test result is shown in a final report that is automatically filled in and very easy to read. The instrumental examination returns indexes that quantify the percentage energy contribution with which each muscle is participating in the maintenance of the posture. And it is immediate to verify if between the muscles of the right and left side of the trunk there is a perfect symmetry in terms of muscular cooperation. But let's get into a more detailed description of the contents of the report. Through the R index, it's possible to estimate the amplitude of the electrical muscle signal. That means to understand how much electrical activity the muscle is developing for maintaining the posture. The R index, which means average rectified value, is calculated as the average value of the rectified signal. But what does it mean? The raw signal, which you know very well, and it's the one displayed in real time during the acquisition, is first filtered and then rectified so that the negative part of the signal is reversed over the positive one. At this point, the average value of the signal is calculated, which here it is represented by the thickest horizontal black line. In green color, the rectified right muscle signal is displayed. In this case, it's the latissimus dorsi muscle. And here, in red color, we have the rectified signal of the left homologous muscle. Obviously, also for the left muscle, its rectified signal should be in the positive plane of the graph. But here, it is displayed in the negative plane. It's only a choice of graphic representation to make easier and more immediate the comparison between the pair of the same right and left muscles in terms of amplitude and average value. Similarly, here below, you can find the graph relative to the other pair of muscles of the lumbar region. The table shows the average value in microvolt of the rectified signal. But by adding all the R values, you get the total electrical activity developed by all the muscles involved, which represent the 100% of the activity. Then it's possible to calculate the ratio between the R value of the single muscle with respect to the total values, so that we can express how much in terms of percentage each muscle is taking part to the maintenance of the posture. Finally, by adding all the muscular contribution of the right side and the muscular contributions of the left side, it's possible to have an evaluation of muscular symmetry at a global level to verify if the two body sides are contributing equally to the maintenance of the posture. If we want to deepen a little more the clinical interpretation of this report, which is the one related to the subject shown in the video, it's clear that the maintenance of the standing posture is costing much more to the right side in terms of energy. But if you remember, maybe let's watch again the video that you can download, the child has a scoliotic attitude that leads to stimulate much more the muscle of the right side of the trunk. Right muscles are always shortened and therefore in tension. And this hypertrophy leads to increase the electrical activity measured. In conclusion, what are the advantages that can be obtained from the use of the static posture protocol? We understood that it allows us to evaluate the muscular strategy adopted by the patient to keep any static posture over time under isometric condition. We can verify if the symmetry between the homologous muscles of the two sides of the trunk is respected, both anteriorly and posteriorly. Obviously, the instrumental assessment can be integrated with the clinical experience, and thanks to the quantitative and objective data, it's possible to optimize the definition of corrective therapies. Finally, in the pre-post treatment assessment, it's possible to quantify and highlight the benefit of the therapy in recovering the correct posture. Okay, well, today we concluded the series of webinars dedicated to the functional protocols. As I said each time at the end of the webinars, if you have attended at least 3 of our appointments, you will shortly receive by email the certificate of participation certified by BTS. Now, I leave you to answer the simple and quick questionnaire, after which, if you have any question to address, please write me by chat, and I will have the pleasure of sharing my answers with you. Thank you very much for attending all our webinars. Soon you will be informed via email of all future training ventures that BTS has the pleasure to reserve for you. And thanks again, and see you soon. Okay, bye-bye.